There are quite literally a lot of ways to make some money out of a piece of land, but there are a few ways to really make some money out of it. Here are the top 3. Number 3. Fruit orchard with animals. There are a lot of orchards full of fruit trees, and there are a lot of plots with grazing animals, but you seldom see a piece of land with both. In fact, this is a splendid idea because of its multiple benefits. You already have an orchard, why not add in the same space some grazing animals? Not only are they going to eradicate the weeds that compete against your trees, they are also going to poop and pee around them, providing them literally with all the nutrients they need to produce far heavier crops than they normally would without fertilization. You can choose between chickens, sheep or cattle. Cattle give meat, milk and leather, but they can be hard to manage due to size. Sheep give milk, wool and meat. Chickens give eggs and meat. If I had to choose one of the 3, I would choose chickens, because not only do they completely dig up weeds instead of just trimming them, but they also eat their seeds. They also provide a good degree of pest control, since any walking insects that could harm the trees that walks through their territory will become a snack before it can say quack quack. Not that insects can say that. Anyway, let's move on. Number 2. Paulownia with berries. Paulownia, a pest tree to some, a wonder of a tree to others. One of the fastest growing trees on the planet, it produces a hardwood that's lightweight and is also extremely resistant to rotting. On top of that, it has a miraculous ability to fix nitrogen into the soil. This means in practice that the area around the Paulownia is self-fertilized and will produce heavy crops that don't need full sun to produce properly, such as most berries. So create a loose grid of Paulownias and plant berries underneath, any berries you prefer. The berries will be fertilized and produce a heavy crop, giving you a yearly income at least as big as if you had simply grown them in the open field. Since the small harvest decrease due to the partial shade and the little space the Paulownia roots take, will be easily offset by the extra productivity due to the natural constant fertilization. On top of that, after only about 4 years after planting, Paulownias will reach their full size, and you will cash in a good lumber crop. What's more, Paulownias grow back from stump, so you don't even need to replant them. This scheme can literally go on forever.
Number 1.
Black walnut mushrooms ginseng. Black walnut is a very expensive hardwood, but it takes a couple of decades to grow. However, the money you will cash in from a plot with black walnut trees will probably be more than enough to retire comfortably in a couple of decades. This scheme, however, provides you with a great income until then as well, which is why it deserves the first place of this list. First of all, plant the black walnut trees very close to each other, as close as 10 feet or 4 meters. This will encourage a natural pruning process, since the trees will be competing for the light and the lower branches will be pruned due to the lack of sunlight reaching them. The canopy of this design will be very thick and will allow for almost no light to reach the ground, which is perfect conditions for mushroom growing. Prune the trees hard, leaving only an ever-thickening trunk and the canopy layer on top, and use the pruned branches to stack them together between the trees in mushroom towers. This will increase a good steady annual income, since the walnut logs will keep producing mushrooms for a few years each, and then a new pruning will replace them for a steady mushroom production. 10 years later, of course, you will also start earning an income from the walnuts that fall from the trees. But there is still a lot of space not taken up by the tree roots or the mushroom towers. So immediately once your trees offer you some shade, you should plant ginseng seeds. About 5 years later, you will cash in a good ginseng crop. So this scheme is, in the long run, by far the most profitable. The steady mushroom income will be what can sustain you until you cash in the ginseng crop for an awful lot of money. Walnuts will add some income to it, and then when the time comes to sell the black walnut trees as high-end lumber, you will make a fortune.